everybody, my name is Carly. I'm so excited that you're here because today we're talking all things small business, and I thought it could be fun just to do a little bit of crochet as we chat, like we're in a really cute little crochet club together. Let's get into it. Just so you know, this video is definitely not me giving advice, but it's more of just my story and how I fell into running my small business as an artist. If you have any valuable tips and knowledge, please leave them in the comments because I would love to know how you found your way in small business or as an artist or anything like that. Leave all of your knowledge for me, please. So, making and selling clothes was something that I did not set out to do. And running this small business that I'm running now is definitely a huge pivot from where I thought I was headed. For context, I was trained and working in musical theatre before COVID hit, and that was my dream and my absolute passion. But through COVID and not working in the industry, I kind of started pivoting without even realizing. I got really into crochet, into drawing and into sewing, and just loved making stuff. I think it was quite a therapeutic process for me through COVID, like it was for many people. And when things started coming back into life in, the city in Brisbane, and work was coming back up again, I kind of still wanted to keep hermiting. Things just felt different, and I literally just wanted to be at home crocheting. Crochet was such a beautiful, soothing balm to my anxiety, and I found myself just doing it all day and all night long. And I started selling my crochet pieces. Actually, this exact jumper style was my first thing that I sold, and I was making these for my friends, and I was having them available through DM order on my Instagram account back when I had like 100 or 200 followers. I was just posting about crochet because I was truly obsessed about it. And slowly but surely my account started growing, which was really exciting. So I was getting a handful of orders every month, and it was kind of enough just to cover my expenses or thereabouts, with the addition of some freelance work that I was doing and also me dipping into my savings a little bit to just get by in the early days. It definitely was very risky, and I wasn't working anymore at my casual job, so I was just full-time freelancing. Not a smart move, but it was the move that I needed personally. And somehow crocheting jumpers was that revenue for me, so I threw myself into it. I was posting on Instagram every single time I made something. I was making really cringe and pretty frequent reels as well, and they were just helping me gain a little bit of traction on Instagram. As my following was growing, I realized that I probably needed to start adding to the products I was selling and some designs, / making my online presence a little bit more reputable, like adding a storefront and things like that. Along this way, I was also just trying to figure out how to send things through the post and what kind of packaging I like. And the first year of this was just so much experimenting. And looking back, it's pretty funny to see. But also, I don't think that I could have started my small business if I had been so stressed about getting all of the details correct. Like, I need to have the Etsy storefront and my own website and all of the packaging supplies and all of the labels and blah blah blah. Like, I truly chipped away at stuff over months and months and months, and things were handwritten, and my cards still are handwritten. I got labels after like 6 months of making clothes. And I've only recently just made my website in the last 6 months. And I believe this is my 3rd year running my business. So we really took baby steps. Something I also did along the way was making a big effort to connect with my audience, both online, and when someone would order something, I would write them a thoughtful note. Summer was coming around and I was still only making crochet garments. And I was like, oh, scary. No one's gonna buy this in summer in Brisbane. I was like, I have to make dresses. I have to find something that potentially people might potentially one day potentially buy. Potentially. I started, I think, with just a really generic smock dress. It was so simple. I could get it perfected pretty easily, and grading it in sizes wasn't too challenging. And I spent probably about 6 to 8 months working on just the smock dress kind of vibe, and then also just making some more like wacky versions of it. And mainly I was doing custom orders. So that meant that I would wait for someone to DM me, and we would collaborate, and we would find a style and fabric and everything that we both liked. In the background, when I was working on customs, I was also just making really random stuff for myself and for friends and just for fun. And I was just selling them as one-of-a-kind pieces. That was something that was so good for me, because I was always just trying to make something random and something new and something that would push my skills and just improve my work as an artist. That is where I found so much of my new style, just through experimenting. In this process, I also was using a lot of secondhand fabric that I just found like at the thrift store and stuff like that. And that's also where I discovered that I loved patchworking and working with secondhand fabrics and what would you call it? Like print clashing. Working on the random projects along with the customs was absolutely integral for the growth of my business long term. So after a long while of working on Etsy and working in DMs, I finally decided to upgrade to a website. At this stage, I had been selling dresses on Etsy probably for about a year, and I was doing drops of one-of-a-kind pieces, so maybe like 10 to 20 pieces. I would be making quite a bit of revenue from them, but Etsy was taking a huge cut, and I was like, this is just not it. So me and my boyfriend sat down and we made a website on Wix, and it was so worthwhile because now I don't have that huge tax taken out of my revenue. And that kind of brings us into the present, where my business looks like making some made-to-order pieces, a lot of one-of-a-kind pieces, and not taking any customs through DMs anymore. It ended up kind of burning me out in my creativity because I was just pushing and pushing and pushing to make stuff that other people liked, and I wasn't just making stuff that was just from my own brain. And also, negotiating with clients over DM just takes a lot of time and energy, and I was like, I don't know if I like this much. So then I decided to just not, and that was an awesome move. So after all of that long and honestly kind of boring story, there are some tips that I've learned that I thought would be worthwhile sharing. My first tip is literally to just start. If you have an idea, especially a creative idea, and it doesn't cost you $1 bazillion to get started, I think do it. Don't quit your job, just start small. Just do 1 hour of work on the weekend or 1 hour on a Monday night. Just set out a block of time and just start, and you will slowly make progress on your idea. I think also it's so important to get those ideas out into the world, especially if you're passionate about them. You just never know where it's going to take you. I think sometimes perfectionism and just fear of failure and cliches like that, they stop us from getting started on ideas that we really want to get started on. Just make a tiny, teeny step. The teeniest, tiniest of steps forward. Work pressure-free for a while. You don't have to be like the CEO of the most amazing company in 5 years' time, or you don't have to be like the best of this thing in the whole world. Like, just be bad at it and just start, because I think that is more progress than waiting until you're perfect or whatever to begin. You just gotta start. My second tip is to share your work. Download every single platform that you can and just post about your stuff. Let it be as cringy, as bad quality, as whatever as you like. You have no idea what content online will go viral, what will be appreciated by other people. You literally don't know. You may as well just take a photo of what you're working on and put it up there and forget about it. I know that posting about your art is annoying sometimes, and it feels like you have to be a content creator as well as an artist. I understand that can be so kind of like demoralizing sometimes as a creative, because you just want to make the art. I think if you can look at it with a positive spin and even with gratitude for the potential that social media can give us, then that's a great outlook to have, and you'll feel less hate hatred towards it. But yeah, post genuine content, connect with your audience, and do not worry about how many followers you have. Just keep sharing what you're working on, because if it's good work, I genuinely believe the right people will find it and magic can be made. Also, if throwing yourself into all of the social medias is just way too overwhelming, just pick one and just go for it. And maybe after a while you'll be like, oh, I feel like I'm confident enough to get into another social media platform. Try not to overwhelm yourself to a point where you can't sustainably post anymore. So if posting on TikTok and Instagram is too much, just pick one and give it a really good whack. My third and my final tip is to learn always and to learn along the way. I think it really comes down to what I was saying before about just starting. It's like, start where you're at and learn along the way. Make something you can make right now, and then get to a point where it's like, I don't know how to do that, and just learn how to do that. You don't have to be perfect at everything, or I believe like you don't necessarily have to go to a school and learn every single thing about a craft before you start. Like, just get into it and go on YouTube. There's great content on Patreon, and there are a lot of amazing skill sharing platforms online. If I had waited until I knew exactly what I was doing, I absolutely never would have started my small business. And one of the things that I try and practice on a daily basis in my small business now is I make time for learning, whether it's a podcast, it's reading a sewing or a fashion book, if it's just learning a new technique for like 10 minutes, I try and make time every day, and if not every day, every week, where I'm just bettering my skills. And that's just completely for my own professional development and not for like a particular project or a particular product. It's just, I'm gonna learn and just get a little bit better this week or today. If you're learning specifically about sewing and fashion and all these kinds of things, go to the op shop. I have found some seriously cool books from decades past that have some really great educational resources in them. And also you can get on Instagram and just ask other creatives. There's just so many ways to learn, and I just think share your process, share your learnings, and just get started. You got it. Well, I stopped crocheting halfway through because I got really into that, but that's okay. That is everything that I had to share about running a small business. I certainly do not have it all figured out whatsoever, but that is just a little bit of my story and how I got started. I hope that it was somewhat helpful or enjoyable to listen to. I got a little bit more done on my sleeve, which is a huge W. It was just really nice talking with you. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you a lot. We'll get back into some more tutorials next week, I think. As always, let me know what you're working on in the comments. I love reading what your projects are and how they're going. And other than that, I will see you in the next video. Bye!